Up hour number one here on Hurrdat Sports Radio. You can give us a call at 888-638-4876. That's the Warhorse Sportsbook hotline. I want to tell you real quick about our friends at Warhorse. They are the best place in Nebraska to place your sports bets. You can go to the casino in Lincoln or to Horseman's Park here in Omaha at 6303 Q Street to place your bets. They can do almost every major sporting event, whether you're talking about pro, college. They do the fights. They got props. They got live bets. They got straight bets.
I know?
They got the parlays that burned Andrew this weekend. They've got everything. They've got you covered there at the Warhorse Sportsbook. Check out the Warhorse Sportsbook app, the Warhorse Casino app, or warhorsecasino.com/sportsbook for all the details and a full list of house rules. Warhorse Sportsbook, no bets, no glory. Yeah, so you killed it on your picks this week.
Sure did.
But you parlayed them in such a way that you won how much money?
I went over.
$0.
Yeah, I went over. Yeah, no. Hopefully those were listening to the show on their, trek to their Thanksgiving gathering, maybe out of state.
Maybe they were hiding somewhere in a house listening to the podcast to avoid the family.
They had to, right? Maybe you were in a sports betting state and you could do it
mobily.
Yeah. Or no, I was actually going to say, Nebraska's a sports betting state.
Maybe
it is. You snuck out. You went out the back door.
Got over to Horseman's Park.
Went over to Horseman's Park. Placed a quick bet. Got back before anybody knew you were gone. And you rode Andrew's picks because they were on fire. You asked me for some Thursday props. I gave them out.
Yeah.
If individually bet, Ravi,
you won all the touchdown ones, right?
5 of the 7 plays that I gave, all hit, and all the touchdown bets hit. So Montgomery touchdown, CeeDee Lamb touchdown, and McCaffrey 2 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had plays stored up for the weekend. We gave some college plays.
Mm-hmm.
We also had some NFL plays, which I don't think we got to. All 3 NFL plays hit, by the way. So sorry that you weren't able to place those. But the college plays.
Yeah.
All 3 college plays, man.
Yeah.
They hit. They hit on the nose.
Yeah, you just had to parlay them.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yet I'm a greedy son of a gun. And, I came away with nothing. But, that's okay. Because we live to fight another day. And I feel like that's the same boat Nebraska's in, man. You live to fight another day.
So you teased a quarterback coming in, a transfer portal quarterback. I think everybody agrees.
You make a splash?
We're looking at least one. I want 2. I want them to bring in 2. Kind of like they did a couple years ago. They brought in Chuba as more developmental guy. They brought in Casey Thompson as kind of an immediate starter guy. I think that's a method that can work. And I think that's what Nebraska needs to do here. You were talking about a quarterback that can make a splash. Who do you have in mind? Because Will Howard is kind of my safe pick, right? Been very solid. Obviously, Adrian can maybe peer recruit him to Nebraska a little bit. I know they played under different coaching staffs, but it seems like Adrian still has a good amount of love for Nebraska. Who's your splashy guy?
So the only reason I was paying attention to this guy was because of Carson Browner. Shout out Elkhorn South.
Okay.
Matthew Sluka from Holy Cross.
Okay.
FCS quarterback.
That's a deep cut.
Now he's been, picking up steam now that other people have noticed his stats and his name has kind of bounced around with Notre Dame lately and things. But Notre Dame always plays it safe, so they're not going to.
They're probably not going to FCS, right?
Yeah, no shot. But I was following him over the course of this season, and let me read you off his career statistics. Okay. 5,800 yards, 59 touchdowns, just 15 interceptions. Okay. He's dual threat.
Okay. I like dual threats.
He's got 3,500 rushing yards and 38 touchdowns.
That's pretty good.
Okay. He's a hard yard guy. He's under the radar, but he's the perfect fit for Nebraska. Why? Because you don't have to change too much with him.
Okay.
You don't have to recreate the offense next year. because of who you bring in. What was working for them this year, or at least what they like to do, is keep the ball on the ground, right?
Yeah.
Have a quarterback that's a little bit mobile, maybe run the option. Matthew Sluka allows you to get a little change mixed in, but also not veer away too much from what you already know.
Okay.
And that's why I think Nebraska could really splash with a guy like him. He's got the stats to back it up. He's got the experience to back it up, his playing experience, I mean. Will it translate to FBS? That's the million-dollar question. But it's hard to say that a guy of this caliber couldn't be successful at a Nebraska.
Yeah.
Right?
So my only hesitation, just kind of looking over some of the stats real quick, is the completion percentage prior to this year. Didn't crack 60% until this year, his third year as a starter, fourth year in the program. Just 62%. My concern would be raising a level that would drop back down into the 50s. That would be my concern. I think you want somebody, which other than that, and again, I haven't seen this guy play hardly at all, just a few highlights, right? So this is based purely on the statistics. I don't know if he had dozens of drops every year, which is entirely possible. You see that a lot sometimes at lower levels when you've got a guy that maybe can make some throws that guys aren't used to seeing. Sometimes you get some receivers that make drops. I think they probably want a guy that they're comfortable with completing at a decently high percentage. That would be my only hesitation on a guy like Matthew Sluka. And the other thing is, so for a guy like him who you're talking about his last year of eligibility, that's a guy you probably walk into as like, that's going to be your starter. And I don't know, with a guy that is going from FCS to FBS, that's a little bit of a harder sell for me. I'm not saying it's out of the question. Maybe they get into this guy, they get into this guy's life, they like love his mindset, and then like if that's the deal, I'm okay with it. But I think there's an inherent risk, right? Honestly, when you're talking about any transfer quarterback, but especially ones that haven't played at the FBS level, and I wouldn't rule it out. We saw Cam Ward at Washington State be super effective. We've seen it before with, I believe his name was Vernon Davis. Nope, that was the tight end for the Vernon Carey, the quarterback for Oregon a few years back. I believe he's the one that replaced Mariota as an Eastern Washington transfer. So it's worked out. We've seen it work before. But I would be a little bit hesitant just because it's such an unknown, right? It's most of these other guys like Will Howard. I've seen Will Howard play a ton of football. Will Rogers. I've seen Will Rogers play a ton of football. Even like, I don't want this guy, but Spencer Petras. I've seen Spencer Petras play a ton of football. I'm good there. I can pass on Spencer Petras. But like a Max Johnson's interesting. He played at LSU, Texas A&M. He's got some experience at high major college football level. The guys that I'm interested in, honestly, though, I'm really curious about some of the younger guys they might go after. This isn't a younger guy, but Tyler Van Dyke from Miami just went in the transfer portal. He's was a highly talented, highly touted guy coming out of high school as well. But I'm interested in some of the guys that maybe haven't played a ton yet, that I think could be longer term answers for Nebraska. Not that they're going to start next year. I think you're probably going to have some sort of a stopgap type guy for next year. But I am really interested in to see who they think the long-term answer is at quarterback.
Well, so the completion percentage doesn't bother me.
Okay.
And I'll step in and say that first because it's been trending in the right direction.
Sure, which is good.
And so it would be hard for me to imagine that would take a major step back next season if everything's been trending upward. What really sticks out is his interception turnover totals have stayed
pretty low. Yeah.
Consistently
4,
low.
5, 6, somewhere in that range. Yeah.
I don't even think it's reached 6 before. I think he's only ever got it up to 5.
Yeah.
And this is somebody that if you're looking to make a splash, you go get because he's so under the radar. He's going to be overlooked because he is in his final year because he is coming from FCS and he played at a school like Holy Cross and doesn't have maybe the compete level that, a Van Dyke has or a Howard has or a Rogers has or a Shaw has. This is somebody that kind of just fits what Nebraska's all about, right? Finding that diamond in a rough. And this is him. He embodies what Nebraska is outside of the fact that he's on his final year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If he had more years
He had
of
like
eligibility,
2 years remaining.
It would be the ideal fit for Nebraska. But still, even though he's on his last year and that, Nebraska's all about, development, that's why it's okay to have a one-stop shop guy. Mm-hmm. Because what Nebraska's missing right now is a gamer. They need somebody that is just a complete difference maker. They didn't have that this year. They had guys that showed they could be that.
Sure.
Maybe like Jalen Lloyd when he made some splash plays, but he wasn't involved enough to be a literal gamer. Emmett Johnson showed some life, but he didn't get he didn't compile at least the stats enough to be at least given the trophy of being a gamer. No quarterback was a gamer this year. No difference maker. Who was it last year? Trey Palmer.
Yeah.
Trey Palmer's a gamer. And that's what made Nebraska successful in the latter weeks. They need to find a gamer.
Coming up next, we've got Adam McClintock. We're going to talk some college football coaching changes here on Hurrdat Sports Radio.
We will be back.